So, bro, when they say the verse, the Dura Maharaj, he stepped on the head of death and he
Hmm.
boarded the plane.
Hmm.
So that destination is the
Yeah,
place.
he went back to this pole star, no?
Oh, okay.
Hmm?
Because I thought he went to the pole star and then from the pole star he went up again.
No, 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 no. He went to this Vaikuntha in the material world.
Oh,
Huh? You go to the fourth floor. So he went back to that place, the pole star, no?
okay.
Hmm?
So
That
another question was, like these Gaudiya
hmm.
they say that the spirit soul they are coming from we are not from Vaikuntha, we are coming from the fallen from Brahma Jyoti.
Hmm.
So I was thinking about that, but doesn't make sense because the spiritual master he cannot come from Brahma Jyoti. He has to come from spiritual world. He has to
Yes.
descend from the. So if, it means they are saying everybody is coming from the Brahman. It doesn't make sense because
Yeah, they are that is their understanding. That say that the fallen position is the Brahman. Prabhupada said how you fall from a fallen position. You must fall from a non-fallen position to a fallen position. A Prabhupada argument. So they say that we all never went to the spiritual world because if you go to the spiritual world, you'll never fall down. And Prabhupada said Jaya and Vijaya has fallen down. See? So there are many cases also, even the story of Tulasi, that Subal, I think, is it Subal who fell down? Who took incarnation of the demon?
Dhamma.
Yeah, Sudama.
Sudama.
Sudama. So you see, he also fell down. So there are many cases of living entities who came down from the spiritual world. Of course, this came for a purpose of helping Krishna in the past time. So, like for example, Garuda, he goes up, he goes down. Narada goes up, goes down. So, the living entities actually, they. I mean, I repeat what Prabhupada said. They fell from the spiritual world. So we take our spiritual master stand. But rather than sit down and argue about where we came from, it's better to worry about how to go back. That's
Yeah.
more intelligent. No?
No, because if they say that the spirit soul fell from Brahman, are they also meaning that even the spiritual masters are from there? Or
Proper the spiritual master is a descendant of the spiritual world.
yeah, that- that's right.
Hmm? Unless he comes from the spiritual world, he cannot be spiritual master.
Yeah,
Hmm? So which is a fact. Either somehow or other you must be always with Krishna. That is the pure devotee. He never forgets Krishna at any point of his life. Like Prabhupada was asked this question, when you became Krishna? Prabhupada says as early as 4 years old. How to become Krishna conscious 4 years old? That means he never forgot Krishna. That's a symptom of pure devotee, is it? But as I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, we all are conditioned souls. So we need to be reminded by a pure devotee. So because we have been here since time immemorial, so we have practically forgotten, all our relationship with God. So either we fell from Brahman or we fell from spiritual world. We are here. That is the point, no? Now, as Prabhupada said, we are caught in a burning house. Better to think how to get out, no? Than worry about how the fire started. Because Gaudiya Math has got their standing. We stand by Prabhupada. That's our position.
Prabhupada say one of the later that Jiva is originally with Krishna,
But even with Krishna, there is a dormant attitude for forgetting Krishna and creating an atmosphere for enjoying independently.
When we say forgetting Krishna is the dormant habit of trying to become Krishna. You understand? Because the living entity has a propensity to enjoy. So when he sees the Lord enjoying, so he wants to enjoy like the Lord, no? So because of that enjoying spirit, then he has to come here. So in order to enjoy like Krishna, you must first forget Krishna.
Yeah.
You go
Is it
systematically.
is it the
Can
reason
you
why
read? Can you? Okay, I'll show you this page better.
Prabhu,
This
is it the
is
reason why we enviousness do not have any process to get rid of?
uh, enviousness comes. The moment you want to enjoy, you must be envious. No?
Yeah.
Can you read this?
The personality of Godhead Kapila continued. When the living entity is thus unaffected by the modes of material nature, because he is unchanging and does not claim proprietorship, he remains apart from the reactions of the modes, although abiding in a material body, just as the sun remains aloof from its reflection of water. Reflection on water. When the soul is under the spell of material nature and false ego, identifying his body as the self, he becomes absorbed in material activities, and by the influence of false ego, he thinks that he is the proprietor of everything.
This is the beginning. No? So, in order for the soul to enjoy, he must identify with the body, and he must think that he is the doer. See how powerful Krishna is. He put this false ego, he put the mind, he put the intelligence, put all this to make the soul get to forget its original position. So much so that it is thinking that I am doing it. See how powerful Krishna's energies are. You understand? And this is a temporary material world, but it's so real that you think this is real, man. This is it. Yes, you understand? Oh, can read the purport.
Actually, the conditioned soul is forced to act under the pressure of modes of material nature. The living entity has no independence. When he is under the direction of Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is free. But when under the impression that he is satisfying his senses, he engages in sense gratificatory activities. He is actually under the spell of material nature. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said, "Prakriti kriyamanani." One acts according to the particular modes of nature he has acquired. Guna refers to the qualities of nature. He is under the qualities of nature, but he falsely thinks that he is the proprietor. The false sense of proprietorship can be avoided simply by engaging oneself in devotional service under the direction of the Supreme Lord, or his bona fide representative. Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita was trying to accept for himself the responsibility for killing his grandfather and teacher in the fight, but he became freed from the proprietorship of action when he acted under the direction of Krishna. He fought, but he was actually freed from the reactions of fighting. Although in the beginning, when he was non-violent, unwilling to fight, the entire responsibility was upon him. That is the difference between liberation and conditioning. A conditioned soul may be very good and act in the mode of goodness, but still he is conditioned under the spell of material nature. A devotee, however, acts completely under the direction of Supreme Lord. Thus, his action may not appear to be of a very high quality to the common man, but the devotee has no responsibility. The conditioned soul therefore transmigrates into different spaces of life, higher and lower, because of his association with the modes of material nature. Unless he is relieved of material activities, he has to accept this position because of his faulty work.
So this is the whole material situation. You follow? The moment he wants to enjoy the senses separately from the Lord, then he's put into disillusion, and then he enjoys, and then he builds up his action and leads to another action, another body. In this way, it goes on for millions and millions and millions of lifetimes. As Narada Muni said, sometime going up, sometime human, sometime demigod, sometime, going to the hellish planet. And in this way, it is going on perpetually. The only way to stop this is he become Krishna conscious.
Actually, a living entity is transcendental to material existence, but because of his mentality of lording it over material nature, his material existential condition does not cease. And just as in a dream, he is affected by all sort of disadvantages.
Hey, it goes on.
It is the duty of every conditioned soul to engage his polluted sin consciousness, which is now attached to material enjoyment, in very serious devotional service with detachment. Thus, his mind and consciousness will be under full control.
So this is the solution. So now the condition we are talking about now, we are talking about how we are all trapped, how to free ourselves. Now the question was how we fell. Okay, we have already fallen. Now this is how we are now. So why we fell? Because we wanted to imitate, become Krishna. So to purify us from that kind of a conditioning, kind of a illusory thinking, we had to be put here. So now we have to realize that there cannot be any separate enjoyer other than Krishna. So when we realize that fully, then that's it. We are reformed and we are again put back on a spiritual position again. So to get out of this we have to work very hard. That's why it says we have to, become serious in devotional service with detachment. Huh?
One has to become faithful by by practicing the controlling process of yoga system, and must elevate himself to the platform of unalloyed devotional service by chanting and hearing about me.
So this is the process we all are now doing, hearing and chanting. And as we keep doing this seriously, then detachment will come in our heart. Because when we come to the second stage of chanting, then we don't have any more desires. Second stage of chanting, Nama Abha stage, then we desire everything for the Lord only. Now in the offensive stage we are chanting, but we are having a lot of material desires also. I want this, I want that, maybe Krishna will make me, all kind of, things. But when you come to the second stage, then you don't want anything else. You only want everything for Krishna only. That will come in the heart. Then of course the final stage is that you chant with love for God. So this is the process. So the chanting is very, very effective. So one, how to see also, in executing devotional service, one has to see every living entity equally, without enemy toward anyone, yet without intimate connection with anyone. One has to observe celibacy, be grave, execute his eternal activities, offering the result to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is the second stage, First you have to see that everybody is a living entity. That's very important. That means you have to learn how to see that everybody is a spirit soul. Hmm? Hmm? This is another stage. For his income, a devotee should be satisfied with whatever he earns without great difficulty. He should not eat more than what is necessary. He should live in a secluded place and always be thoughtful, peaceful, friendly, compassionate, self-realized. All these qualities come, moment you advance, they come automatically. You cut down on your eating, you are satisfied with whatever, little income enough. You don't want to go to places where a lot of, people are congregating, especially non-devotees. You're always thoughtful, peaceful, friendly, compassionate, self-realized. Okay? This is actually the second-class platform. Because I recommend you to read the verses the purport when you have the time. Remember this chapter. One's seeing power should be increased through the knowledge of spirit and matter, and one should not unnecessarily identify with the body and thus become attracted by bodily relationship. So this is again a higher platform. It's all the qualities of a person who is detaching himself and attaching to Krishna. Because this is not neophyte platform stage. So this will come, to someone who gradually advances spiritually. Because unless we are disgusted with material life, then we cannot make spiritual progress. Material life and spiritual life don't go together. One should be situated in transcendental position beyond the stage of material consciousness and should be aloof from all other conception of life. Thus realizing freedom from false ego, one should see oneself just as the sun is in the sky. So one then identify that one is a spirit soul that we are reading in that fourth canto of chapter 28, that Malaya Dwaja saw himself one with the Lord, and he saw the Lord, just like the example of two birds eating the fruit in the tree. I mean, two birds sitting in the tree, one is eating the fruit and one is observing. Correct? You know the example? So once you start eating, that means we are enjoying the fruits. But the moment that bird who's eating realized that no, I am a spirit soul and I am also same in quality as the Lord, I should surrender to him. So when that bird looks at Krishna, then that's it. The whole program is finished. Then once he see the Lord, then he don't want to not see the Lord. He's always attracted to seeing the beautiful feature of the Lord. That his pleasure is within, not externally but internally. Because he is with the Lord. So this program is how it works. To get to that stage, of course, the hearing and chanting is the beginning. So we are recommended doing that. So we do it steadily, we will come slowly, as Prabhupada said. We will come to the point of actually understanding and feeling the Lord in our heart. Then our spiritual life is successful. But it takes time. It has to be done on a very regular basis. For people who are kind of, especially householders, to work, to run to office, to come back, to do many things. It's take care of family. It's quite a challenge, I would say. It's not that impossible, but it's quite a challenge because you have very limited time for even, I think, reading. Correct? Yes, is it not?
Yes, Prabhu.
Especially you have children. Oh, your thing that suffers most is your reading. I know I also was a householder before. I mean, even I was a full-time devotee. Time is really, so many priorities come. That's why the householder, their service is to give charity, to take association. Because knowledge has to come, no? Without knowledge, it's difficult to strengthen the intelligence, as we read in the last class, no? So, when the intelligence gets strengthened, then yes, then our understanding becomes deeper. So, we have to realize, hmm? A liberated soul realizes the absolute personality of Godhead who is transcendental and who manifests a reflection even in the false ego. He is the support of the material cause and enters into everything. He is absolute one without a second and his eyes of the illusory energy. This is the position of a pure devotee. That's why it says the liberated soul realizes the supreme personality of Godhead, how he's creating everything, he's the source of everything goes back to him. So this position is a very exalted position. So like that you can see now the verses from the beginning to here, we spoke about how we are conditioned, and then it goes to how you come to the liberated position. Yes? Correct? So when we were with Krishna and we fell, now to go back to that position, we have to carry on with our hearing and chanting. This is a very important point. So that means we only can get purified. Of course, association with devotees is important, no? But we have to strengthen our hearing and chanting. Then everything becomes crystal clear. Either we go to the spiritual world or we are in the material world, or it doesn't matter. Because once you are in the spiritual consciousness, then you're already with Krishna. So it doesn't matter whether you are in heaven or hell or here or there. That's a transcendental position. Just like Krishna, act spiritually. Just the gopis, the example, they were going to dance with Krishna in their spiritual body, whereas they left the material body at home. The husbands were thinking their wives were there, sleeping there. Yes or no? Have you read that verse? Huh? Correct? Husband and wife, of course the gopis, they didn't know. They went to Krishna and they didn't know how they can go back. Krishna said, don't worry, you go back, everything be alright. Because their body, their material body is left behind. You cannot really associate with Krishna in the material body. That's a fact. So when you become spiritually advanced, that you are with Krishna spiritually, then you don't care for this material body anymore. Because this is a very high position. As we read, the spirit, the one who is actually so advanced, like Prahlad Maharaj, I think we showed the verse, 7:4. That how he forgot his eating, his sleeping and all, he forgot. Correct? So that is done by the Lord. The Lord takes care, because he doesn't identify with the material body anymore. So that is the spiritual plane. Because that we have to work towards that. It takes a little time, It may take some more lifetime also. So spiritual life is based on progressing. So after many, many births, Krishna says to realize that he is all in all. That is even after many, many births. How many, many more births to realize our relationship with Krishna? Right? So in the meantime, we carry on our service. Yes. Hmm? The presence of Supreme Lord can be realized just as the sun is realized first as the reflection of water. Again, the second reflection, the wall of room, although the sun itself is situated in the sky. So you understand the Lord's energy everywhere. The self-realized soul is thus reflected first in threefold ego and then in the bodies, senses and mind. So this is how Prabhupada explained. The conditioned soul thinks I am this body, but liberated soul thinks I am not this body, I am spirit soul. See how this is two different way of thinking. So every time we think we are the body, that means we are in the conditioned stage. But when we understand I am not this body, I am spirit soul, and act also like that, not just thinking, and that's a different position. So we have to work our way, fully realize that we are nothing but spirit soul. So this is the process. You want to read this?
The conditioned soul thinks I am this body, but but a liberated soul thinks I am not this body, I am spirit soul. This I am is called ego or identification of the self. I am this body or everything in relationship to the body is mine is called false ego. But when one is self realized and thinks that he is an eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord, that identification is called real ego. One conception is in the darkness of the threefold qualities of material nature goodness, passion, and ignorance. And the other is in the pure state of goodness called Shuddha Sattva or Vasudeva. When, when we say that we give up our ego, this means that we give up our false ego. But real ego is always present. When one is reflected, when one is reflected through the material contamination of the body and mind in false identification, he is in the conditional state. But when he is reflected in the pure stage, he is called liberated. The identification of oneself with one's material positions in the conditional stage must be purified, and one must identify himself in relationship with the Supreme Lord. In the conditional state, one accepts everything as an object of sense gratification, and in the liberated state, one accepts everything for the service of the Supreme Lord. Krishna conscious devotional service is the actual liberated stage of a living entity. Otherwise, both accepting and rejecting of the material platform or in voidness or impersonalism are imperfect conditions for the pure soul. By understanding the pure soul called Satyadruk, one can see everything as a reflection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A concrete example can be given in this connection. A conditioned soul sees a very beautiful rose and he thinks that a nice aromatic flower should be used for his own sense gratification. This is one kind of vision. A liberated soul, however, sees the same flower as a reflection of the Supreme Lord. He thinks this beautiful flower is made possible by the superior energy of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, it belongs to the Supreme Lord and should be utilized in his service. These are the two kinds of vision. The conditioned soul sees the flower for his own enjoyment, and the devotee sees the flower as an object to be used in the service of the Lord. In the same way, one can see the reflection of the Supreme Lord in one's own senses, mind, and body, in everything. With that correct vision, one can engage everything in the service of the Lord. It is stated in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that one who has engaged everything, his vital energy, his wealth, his intelligence, and his words, in the service of the Lord, or one who desires to engage all this in the service of the Lord, no matter how he is situated, is to be considered a liberated soul or Satyadrip. Such a man has understood things as they are.
So this is the point, position of a pure devotee. That's why a pure devotee cannot fall down, because he's always with the Lord.
Although a devotee appears to be merged in five material elements, the objects of material enjoyment, the material senses, and the material mind and intelligence, he is understood to be awake and to be freed from false ego. The explanation by Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu of how a person can be liberated even in this body is more elaborately explained in this verse. The living entity who has become Satyadrip, who realizes his position in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, may remain apparently merged in the five elements of matter, the five material sense objects, the 10 senses, and the mind and intelligence, but still he is considered to be awake and to be freed from the reaction of false ego. Here the word Leena is very significant. The Mayavadi philosophers recommend merging in the impersonal effulgence of Brahman, that is their ultimate goal or destination. That merging is also mentioned here. But in spite of merging, one can keep his individuality. The example given by Jiva Goswami is that a green bird that enters green tree appears to merge in the color of greenness, but actually the bird does not lose its individuality. Similarly, a living entity merged either in the material nature or in the spiritual nature does not give up the individuality. Real individuality is to understand oneself to be the eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord. This information is received from the mouth of Lord Chaitanya. He clearly said upon the inquiry of Sanatana Goswami that a living entity is the servitor of Krishna eternally. Krishna also confirms in Bhagavad Gita that the living entity is eternally his parts and parcel. The part and parcel is meant to serve the whole. That is individuality. It is so even in the material existence. When the living entity apparently merges in the matter, his gross body is made up of five elements. His subtle body is made of mind, intelligence, and false ego, uncontaminated consciousness. And he has five active senses and five knowledge acquiring senses. In this way, he merges in matter. But even while merged in the 24 elements of matter, he can keep his individuality as the eternal servitor of the Lord. Either in the spiritual nature or in the material nature, such a servitor is to be considered a liberated soul. This is the explanation of the authorities, and it is confirmed in this verse.
So here,
The living entity can vividly feel his existence as the sheer, but because of the disappearance of ego during the state of deep sleep, he falsely takes himself to be lost, like a man who has lost his fortune and feels distressed, thinking himself to be lost. When mature understanding, one can realize his individuality, then the situation he accepts under false ego becomes manifest to him.
so now this another question was raised by Devahuti. She's saying this verse.
Sri Devahuti inquired, "My dear Brahmana, does material nature ever gives release to spirit soul? Since it one is attracted by the other eternally, how is their separation possible?"
But this is the question now. So we are now stuck here. How can we come out of this? The Maya seems to have got a tight grip on the conditioned soul. Is it not? So she is inquiring, Can you read this?
Devahuti, the mother of Kapiladeva, here makes her first inquiry. Although one may understand that spirit, soul, and matter are different, their actual separation is not possible, either by philosophical speculation or by proper understanding. The spirit soul is the marginal potency of the Supreme Lord, and the matter is the external potency of the Lord. The two eternal potencies have somehow or other been combined, and since it is so difficult to separate one from other, how is it possible for the individual soul to become liberated? By practical experience, one can see that when the soul is separated from the body has no real existence. And when the body is separated from the soul, one cannot perceive the existence of the soul. When, uh, as long as the soul and the body are combined, we can understand that there is life. But when they are separated, there is no manifested existence of the body or the soul. This question asked by Devahuti of Kapiladeva is more or less impelled by the philosophy of voidism. The voidists say that consciousness is a product of combination of matter, and that as soon as the consciousness is gone, the material combination dissolves, and therefore there is ultimately nothing but voidness. This absence of consciousness is called nirvana in Mayavada philosophy. As there is no separate existence of the earth and its aroma, or of water with its taste, there cannot be any separate existence of intelligence and consciousness.
So she's saying like this, we have been stuck, So of course, again she says, and even though he is a passive performer of all activities, how can there be freedom for the soul as long as material nature acts on him and binds him? So we have been, stuck, it looks like it's going to be tough to come out of this. Of course, then he says, even if the great fear of bondage is avoided by mental speculation, inquiry into the fundamental principles can still appear again, since its curse has not ceased. So even though we got out, still it looks like we are going to be stuck again, Huh? So here the Lord then explains this point. Want to read this?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "One can get liberation by seriously discharging devotional service onto me and thereby hearing for a long time about me or from me. By thus executing one's prescribed duties, there will be no reaction and one will be freed from contamination of matter."
So the process is devotional service, That's now we read by hearing and chanting, So if you want to come out of this thing, then there's no other way, There's no other way. Can you read the purport?
Sridhara Swami comments in this connection that by association with material nature alone, one does not become conditioned. Conditioned life begins only after one is infected by the modes of material nature. If someone is in contact with the police department, that does not mean he is a criminal. as long as one does not commit criminal acts. Even though there is a police department, he is not punished. Similarly, the liberated soul is not affected, although he is in the material nature. Even the Supreme Personality of Godhead is supposed to be in association with the material nature when he descends, but he is not affected. One has to act in such a way that, in spite of being in the material nature, he is not affected by contamination. Although the lotus flower is in association with water, it does not mix with the water. That is how one has to live, as described here by the personality of Godhead Kapila Deva. Animitta nimittena swadharme namana mana. One can be liberated from all adverse circumstances simply by seriously engaging in devotional service. How this devotional service develops and becomes mature is explained here. In the beginning, one has to perform his prescribed duties with a clean mind. Clean consciousness means Krishna consciousness. One has to perform his prescribed duties in Krishna consciousness. There is no necessity of changing one's prescribed duties. One simply has to act in Krishna consciousness. In discharging Krishna conscious duties, one should determine whether by his professional or occupational duties, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is satisfied. In other place in the Bhagavatam, it is said, Swanushthitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. Everyone has become prescribed. Everyone has some prescribed duties to perform, but the perfection of such duties will be reached only if the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari is satisfied by such actions. For example, Arjuna's prescribed duty was to fight, and the perfection of his fighting was tested by the satisfaction of Krishna. Krishna wanted him to fight, and when he fought for the satisfaction of the Lord, that was the perfection of his professional devotional duty. On the other hand, when contrary to the wish of Krishna, he was not willing to fight, that was imperfect. If one wants to perfect his life, he should discharge his prescribed duties for the satisfaction of Krishna. One must act in Krishna consciousness, for such action will never produce any reaction. Animitta nimittena. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Yagnarthat karmano nyatra. All activities should be performed simply for yagna or the satisfaction of Vishnu. Anything done otherwise, without the satisfaction of Vishnu or yagna, produces bondage. So here it is also prescribed by Kapila Muni that one can transcend material entanglement by acting in Krishna consciousness, which means seriously engaging in devotional service. This serious devotional service can develop by hearing for long period of time, chanting and hearing in the beginning of process of devotional service. One should associate with devotees and hear from them about the Lord's transcendental appearance, activities, disappearance, instructions, etc. There are two kinds of Shruti. There are two kinds of Shruti or scripture. One is spoken by the Lord and other is spoken about the Lord and his devotees. Bhagavad Gita is the former and the Srimad Bhagavatam the later. One must hear these scriptures repeatedly from reliable sources in order to become fixed in serious devotional service. Through engagement in such devotional service, one becomes freed from contamination of Maya. It is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam that hearing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead cleanses the heart of all contamination caused by the influence of three modes of material nature. By continuous regular hearing, the effects of the contamination of lust and greed to enjoy or lord it over material nature diminish. And when lust and greed diminish, one then becomes situated in the mode of goodness. This is the stage of Brahman realization or spiritual realization. In this way, one becomes fixed on the transcendental platform. Remaining fixed on the transcendental platform is liberation from material entanglement.
So you see how this is the process. So we should learn how to carry on our spiritual activities in a determined way, hearing and chanting. Try to increase this more and more. And that way our material entanglement will loosen up. There's no other shortcut to this, right? You can't do anything else. All these other programs will not work. Meditation, all other kind of stuff. Nothing more than hearing and chanting. So why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is stressed more on the chanting than anything else. Because when you chant, you are actually hearing the holy name. So when you hear the holy name, that means you are associating with the Lord already. For anybody who meditates on the form of the Lord, he gets purified. Yeah. So therefore chanting is very powerful. And we can see anyone who takes up the process of chanting very seriously, very quickly he develops all the good qualities, All his bad qualities are leaving him. So this is proof that a person is making progress. But if he's hearing and chanting and not improving, then something is not right. And he has to, associate with somebody to help him out and see where he was going wrong. Again, Kapila again stress on this point again. Again he says the same thing. See? Yeah, the devotional service has to be performed strongly in perfect knowledge and with transcendental vision. One must be strongly, again, renounced and must engage in austerity and perform mystic yoga in order to be firmly fixed in self-absorption. So that's now it is, say we have to do in a determined way, here now strongly. So you want to get out of Maya, it is not some lightweight thing, where simply we can do and dilly-dally and do whatever we like and all kind of stuff. We have to become very fixed up, At least we have to become serious, That should be our intention. Just like you are going to work, maintaining family and all that, it's a serious affair. You cannot take the family maintenance lightly. So if that is just the case for this material affair, what to speak about trying to get out of this whole mess? How much more serious we have to be? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Is it not? So to separate that connection with Maya that we had for a long, long time, that requires some real effort, Sky, the program is prescribed, wake up in the morning and chant. Nobody can make advancement if you don't wake up in the morning. That's out of the question. The person doesn't practice this morning program very seriously. I have my reservations. Even he may chant in the afternoon or midnight or whatever, but if he doesn't chant in the morning, then it will just not work, Eh? Yes,
Yes, Prabhu, absolutely.
devotional service in Krishna consciousness cannot be performed blindly due to material emotion or material concoction. Exactly the point I'm saying. See this point?
Yeah.
Yeah? Cannot be done with sentiment, material emotion or mental concoction. Blindly, we cannot do this like it is specifically mentioned here that one has to perform devotional service in full knowledge by visualizing the absolute truth. So we have to know what we are doing, why we are doing, consequence of not doing. This thing has to be realized, you cannot, take it easy and think that, it's all Krishna says, one name of Krishna is enough to deliver the soul, Huh? I have chanted more than one name of Krishna, so I think I have got a pretty good record, Huh? Yes, huh? We can understand about the absolute truth by evolving transcendental knowledge. And the result of such transcendental knowledge will be manifested by renunciation. So again, another important point. Huh? The result of such transcendental knowledge will be manifested by renunciation. Yeah? In other words, if you have realization, then you will become detached. It is synonymous. Yeah, Prabhupada explained. That renunciation is not temporary, artificial, but is very strong. That means the renunciation is met with realization. No, I am not going to do this anymore. Finish. You understand? It is said that development of Krishna consciousness is executed by proportionate material detachment of vairagya. As you surrender, I reward accordingly, Krishna says. The more renounce, the more advancement. The less renounce, the less advancement. Huh? If one does not separate himself from material enjoyment, it is to be understood he is not advancing in Krishna consciousness. Period. Again, it is said that development, if one does not separate himself from material enjoyment, it is to be understood that he is not advancing in Krishna consciousness. Right? Hmm? You follow this point?
Yes, Lord.
Yeah? Renunciation in Krishna consciousness is so strong that it cannot be deviated by any material illusion. That's another thing about Krishna consciousness. It is so powerful that Maya cannot actually bewilder. Hmm? One has to perform devotional service in full tapasya, and Prabhupada is giving. One should fast on 2 Ekadasi days. And Prabhupada is telling what we should do. Huh? And which fall on the 11th day of waxing. The first thing he says, you have to do Ekadasi. Then he says that we must fast on Lord Krishna's, Lord Ram, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance day. There are many fasting days. Yogena means by controlling the senses and mind. Yoga, Indriya, Samyam, Yaha. Yogena implies that one is seriously absorbed in the self and is able by development knowledge to understand his constitutional position in relationship with the super self. In this way, one becomes fixed in devotional service and his faith cannot be shaken by any material allurement. So controlling of the tongue is so important. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Hmm? Material enjoyment and spiritual life go ill together. So therefore, a devotee, he realized, I want to concentrate on my spiritual life, So the best program is to wake up in the morning and chant. This has to be ingrained in our consciousness. If we sleep through the morning that means we are not serious spiritually. Cannot work. So that is the test. Whatever happens, you will just wake up the take up the beat back and chant. Everything will become back in order quickly. That's the secret. That is the secret. Huh? The influence of material nature has covered the living entity, and thus it is as if the living entity were always in a blazing fire. But by the process of seriously discharging devotional service, this influence can be removed, just as wooden sticks which catch fire are themselves consumed by it. So this is the talk between Kapila and his mother. The mother asked, can we come out of this? And it looks like we are stuck, He said, no, you can. You see? Seriously discharging devotional service, this influence can be removed. So we have to come to understand that at least we are not doing, never mind, but at least we must understand it. Why am I suffering and how can I come out? And you make experiment. You wake up in the morning, you chant and you see, how you goes. And once you get that taste, then you'll always be lingering. Oh, I want to do it. I want this. I want to wake. I want to chant. As automatic. So as a strong detachment will come in by realization.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Hmm? So here Prabhupada explaining, similarly the living entity's conditioned life of material existence due to his desire to lord it over material nature and due to this, to his envy of the Supreme Lord. So envying the Lord and trying to enjoy the material world is synonymous. Thus his main disease are that he wants to be one with the Supreme Lord or wants to become the Lord of material nature. This is why we are here. The two diseases are due to material contamination. One to enjoy Maya, another one to, find some kind of mental relief for it. Merging with the Lord. Mainly to desire to lord it over material nature and the desire to become one with the Supreme Lord are absent. Therefore, the cause of material existence is at once consumed by the careful discharge of devotional service in Krishna consciousness. A devotee in full Krishna consciousness appears superficially to be a great karmi, always working, but the inner significance of the devotee's activity is that they are meant for the satisfaction of Supreme Lord. This is called bhakti or devotional service. Arjuna was apparently a fighter, but when he's fighting, he satisfied the senses of Lord Krishna, he became a devotee. Since the devotee is always engaged in philosophical research to understand the Supreme Person as he is, his activities may thus appear to be like those of a mental speculator. But actually, he is trying to understand the spiritual nature and transcendental activity. Thus, although the tendency for philosophical speculation exists, the material effects of fruitive activities and empiric speculation do not exist because this activity is meant for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is how the devotee is guided, That's why a spiritual master is very much required. Trying to figure out by our own strength is not possible. Because by engaging in Maya, we can get entangled. Or trying to kind of find out what is this, what is that, we can get completely lost in speculation. So both ways we need the guidance of the spiritual master. So this is the program of trying to become serious in Krishna consciousness. by getting into this morning program, getting serious, by coming to the mode of goodness, the devotee realized that our Maya is so bad, He gets that detachment, he loses taste, Because the living entity, someone want to read this? Everyone else? Please take turn.
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. I'll take it. Because the living entity is not actually the enjoyer of the material resources. His attempt to lord it over material nature is, at the ultimate issue, frustrated. As a result of frustration, he desires more power than the ordinary living entity and thus wants to merge into the existence of the supreme enjoyer. In this way, he develops a plan for greater enjoyment. When one is actually situated in devotional service, that is his independent position. Less intelligent man cannot understand the position of the eternal servant of the Lord. Because the word servant is used, they become confused. They cannot understand that this servitude is not the servitude of this material world. To be the servant of the Lord is the greatest position. If one can understand this and can thus revive one's original nature of eternal servitorship of the Lord, one stands fully independent. A living entity's independence is lost by material contact. In the spiritual field, he has full independence, and therefore there is no question of becoming dependent upon the three modes of material nature. This position is attained by a devotee, and therefore he gives up the tendency for material enjoyment after seeing its faultiness. The difference between a devotee and an impersonalist is that an impersonalist tries to become one with the Supreme so that he can enjoy without impediment, whereas a devotee gives up the entire mentality of enjoying and engages in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. That is his constitutional glorified position. At that time, he is Ishvara, fully independent. The real Ishvara or Ishvara Parama, the Supreme Ishvara or Supreme Independent, is Krishna. The living entity is Ishvara only when engaged in the service of the Lord. In other words, transcendental pleasure derived from loving service to the Lord is actual independence.
So see, this is how it works, no? So anybody got questions up to here?
In this verse, this purport is very nice because recently they had a Republic Day for India. So here is Prabhupada writing very nicely about the independence. What is real independence?
I don't know what independence that is. What is Indian independence? The independence of an animal. One who worship the land of birth is an animal, actually.
Awareness.
Yeah. Bauma ijjatihi. So we should understand our position, That's why when we come together and discuss, then our realization becomes very strong, Because no doubt we can read among ourselves, But when we hear in the association of devotees, it becomes very strengthened, Sometimes we understand it wrongly, Also, no?
I have
Yes.
a question, Prabhu.
Yes.
So in the purport of text 21, at the end, so I'm reading here. Srila Prabhupada says, by continuous regular hearing, the effects of the contamination of lust and greed to enjoy or lord it over material nature diminish. And when lust and greed diminish, one then becomes situated in the mode of goodness. So this is just like that verse that says, you know, in the first canto of Bhagavatam, that says that the effect of lust and greed, of passion and ignorance diminish. So that means that passion and ignorance are still there, but the effects are not felt. And then Prabhupada says this is the stage of Brahman realization or spiritual realization. In this way, one becomes fixed on the transcendental platform. Remaining fixed on the transcendental platform is liberation from material entanglement. So this Brahman realization, is it in the mode of goodness only when not affected by the two lower modes, or is it above the mode of goodness?
See, in this verse, when one engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, one transcends the mode of material nature and comes to the level of Brahman. In other words, if you are in the lust and anger platform, that means you are in the mode of passion and ignorance. So if you cross over that and even go over the material goodness, then you come to the level of Brahman. That means Brahman means the spiritual transcendental platform. Okay?
So it is even above the mode of goodness then?
Yes. Mode of goodness is a stepping stone to come to transcendental goodness, You can only come to transcendental goodness through mode of goodness, you see. But when you go beyond goodness, then come to Krishna consciousness, then you transcend, you see.
Because in that purport, Prabhupada seems, he says, lust and greed diminish, one then becomes situated in the mode of goodness. And then he says this is the stage of Brahman realization or spiritual realization.
Correct. It's just the border, The moment you become Krishna conscious, then you transcend completely. We called it the Vasudeva or the Suddha Sattva platform, Suddha Sattva, purified goodness, It's verse, Vasudeva Saptidam. You know that verse 4 something. Lord Shiva is saying. Vasudeva Sabditam. Let me take that verse out. Lord Shiva is meditating on that platform when fourth
canto, Prabhu?
The fourth canto, no? Vasudeva Sabditam Sattvam Vishuddham. Yeah, it is here. So in this verse you see here the platform of Sattvam Vishuddham, Vasudeva Sabditam. No? Sattvam is goodness, Vishuddham means becoming purified, then you come to the Vasudeva platform. I'm always engaged in offering obeisance to Lord Vasudeva in pure Krishna consciousness. When Krishna consciousness is always pure consciousness, in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead known as Vasudeva is revealed without any coverings. So that we see the translation pure, Vishuddham purified, So when you go from the Sattvam is goodness, Vishuddham is pure goodness, then you come to Vasudeva means the platform of transcendental Krishna consciousness. So this is the verse that Lord Shiva is explaining. The state of Suddha Sattva, which means that it is transcendental to material qualities. The state of Vishu Suddha Sattva, which means that it is transcendental material qualities. Since this Suddha Sattva existence is under the direction of the internal potency, in this stage of activity of material consciousness stops. You want to read the purport of this whole verse?
Starting again?
Yeah.
Okay. The living entity is constitutionally pure, asango hyayam purusha. In the Vedic literature, it is said that the soul is always pure and uncontaminated by material attachment. The identification of the body with the soul is due to misunderstanding. As soon as one is fully Krishna conscious, it is to be understood that one is in his pure, original constitutional position. This state of existence is called Shuddha Sattva, which means that it is transcendental to the material qualities. Since this Shuddha Sattva existence is under the direct action of the internal potency, in this state the activities of material consciousness stop. For example, when iron is put into a fire, it becomes warm, and when red hot, although it is iron, it acts like fire. Similarly, when copper is surcharged when electricity, its action as copper stops. It acts as electricity. Bhagavad Gita 14:26 also confirms that anyone who engages in unadulterated devotional service to the Lord is at once elevated to the position of pure Brahman. Mam chayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunyan samatithyaitam brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Therefore, Shuddha Sattva, as described in this verse, is the transcendental position, which is technically called Vasudeva. Vasudeva is also the name of the person from whom Krishna appears. This verse explains that the pure state is called Vasudeva because in that state Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is revealed without any covering. To execute unadulterated devotional service, therefore, one must follow the rules and regulations of devotional service without desire to gain material profit by fruitive activities or mental speculation. In pure devotional service, one simply serves the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a matter of duty, without reason and without being impeded by material conditions. That is called Shuddha Sattva, or Vasudeva. Because in that stage, the Supreme Person, Krishna, is revealed in the heart of the devotee. Srila Jiva Goswami has very nicely described this Vasudeva, or Shuddha Sattva, in his Bhagavad Sandarbha. He explains that Ashtottara Shata is added to the name of the spiritual master to indicate one who is situated in Shuddha Sattva, or in the transcendental state of Vasudeva. The word Vasudeva is also used for other purposes. For example, Vasudeva also means one who is everywhere, or all-pervading. The sun is also called Vasudeva Shabditam. The word Vasudeva may be utilized for different purposes, but whatever purpose we adopt, Vasudeva means the all-pervading or localized Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita 7:19, it is also stated Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Factual realization is to understand Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and surrender unto him. Vasudeva is the ground wherein Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is revealed. When one is free from the contamination of material nature and is situated in pure Krishna consciousness or in the Vasudeva state, Vasudeva, the Supreme Person, is revealed. This state is also called Kaivalya, which means pure consciousness. Jnanam Sadvikam Kaivalyam. When one is situated in pure transcendental knowledge, one is situated in Kaivalya. Therefore, Vasudeva also means Kaivalya, a word which is generally used by impersonalists. Impersonal Kaivalya is not the last stage of realization, but in Krishna consciousness, Kaivalya, when one understands the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then one is successful. In that pure state, by hearing, chanting, remembering, etc., because of the development of knowledge of the science of Krishna, one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All these activities are under the guidance of the internal energy of the Supreme Lord. The action of the internal potency is also described in this verse as apavritta, free from any covering. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead, His name, His form, His quality, His paraphernalia, etc., being transcendental, are beyond material nature. It is not possible to understand any one of them with the materialistic senses. When the senses are purified by the discharge of pure devotional service, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate, the pure senses can see Krishna without covering. Now one may inquire that since factually the devotee has the same material existential body, how is it possible that the same materialistic eyes become purified by devotional service? The example, as stated by Lord Chaitanya, is that devotional service cleanses the mirror of the mind. In a clean mirror, one can see one's face very distinctly. Similarly, simply by cleansing the mirror of the mind, one can have a clear conception of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita 8.8, Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena. By executing one's prescribed duties in devotional service, Chetasa Nanya Gamina, or simply by hearing about God and chanting about Him, if one's mind is always engaged in chanting and hearing and is not allowed to go elsewhere, one can realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As confirmed by Lord Chaitanya by the Bhakti Yoga process, beginning from hearing and chanting, one can cleanse the heart and mind, and thus one can clearly see the face of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Shiva said that since his heart was always filled with the conception of Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because of the Supreme Lord's presence within his mind and heart, he was always offering obeisances unto that Supreme Godhead. In other words, Lord Shiva is always in trance, samadhi. This samadhi is not under the control of the devotee. It is under the control of Vasudeva. For the entire internal energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead acts under his order. Of course, the material energy also acts by his order, but his direct will is specifically executed through the spiritual energy. Thus, by his spiritual energy, he reveals himself. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.6, Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. Atma Mayaya means internal potency. By his sweet will, he reveals himself by his internal potency, being satisfied by the transcendental living service of the devotee. The devotee never commands, "My dear Lord, please come here so that I can see you." It is not the position of the devotee to command the Supreme Personality of Godhead to come before him or to dance before him. There are many so-called devotees who command the Lord to come before them dancing. The Lord, however, is not subject to anyone's command. But if he is satisfied by one's pure devotional activities, he reveals himself. Therefore, a meaningful word in this verse is adokshaja, for it indicates that the activities of our material senses will fail to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One cannot realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead simply by the attempt of one's speculative mind. But if one desires, he can subdue all the material activities of his senses, and the Lord, by manifesting his spiritual energy, can reveal himself to the pure devotee. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead reveals himself to the pure devotee, the devotee has no other duty than to offer him respectful obeisances. The Absolute Truth reveals himself to the devotee in his form. He is not formless. Vasudeva is not formless. For it is stated in this verse that as soon as the Lord reveals himself, the devotee offers his obeisances. Obeisances are offered to a person, not to anything impersonal. One should not accept the Mayavada interpretation that Vasudeva is impersonal. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Prapadyate, one surrenders. One surrenders to a person, not to impersonal non-duality. Whenever there is a question of surrendering or offering obeisances, there must be an object of surrender or obeisances.
So in other words, if a person has lust and anger to always fight with, that means that he's influenced with contaminated consciousness of passion and ignorance. So this is a stage where we all go through. We have to clean ourselves by strongly adhering to the devotional program of hearing and chanting. This is test, everyone can see this test. If we have a lot of lust and anger all, hovering in our heart, then something has to be done to purify ourselves. Yes?
Yes.
So it's not an artificial program. Correct? So to come to the Vasudeva platform requires a lot of hard work, no?
Yes, here Prabhupada states that constantly, not deviating to anything else. So this is definitely not some cheap process.
can put on all kind of titles, Tomorrow you are running after some woman genital. You are in strict Maya, boss. You understand? So therefore, the devotees who are transcendental, they cannot be shaken because they have gone beyond this. That's why you see that Yamuna Acharya is saying, whenever I think of this, I spit at the very thought. See how even if he thinks, he spits at it, he's no more interested. So these are all symptoms of advancement. So the test is that we must be giving up our lust and anger. That's the test. If lust no more comes, that means you can see you are making progress. Yes? Of course, there's other verses also, 1, 2,
Actually, this is the verses the purport Prabhupada reported.
Um,
Prabhupada reported in that purport. This is the verse.
So you want to read, Yusamba?
Yeah, as soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of the natures of modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness, and he becomes completely happy.
Huh?
Yeah. Prabhupada explained in this purport. A living entity in his normal constitutional position is fully satisfied in spiritual bliss. This state of existence is called Brahmabhuta or Atmananda, or the state of satisfaction. This self-satisfaction is not like the satisfaction of the inactive fool. The inactive fool is in the state of foolish ignorance, whereas self-satisfied Atmanandi is transcendental to the material state of existence. This stage of perfection is attained as soon as one is fixed in irrevocable devotional service. Devotional service is not inactivity, but unalloyed activity of the soul. The soul's activity becomes adulterated in contact with matter. Thus, the diseased activities are expressed in the form of lust, desire, hankering, inactivity, foolishness, and sleep. The effect of devotional service becomes manifest by complete elimination of this effect of passion and ignorance. The devotee is fixed at once in the mode of goodness, and he makes further progress to rise to the position of Vasudeva, or the state of unmixed sattva or Suddha sattva. Only in this Suddhasattva state can one always see Krishna face to face by dint of pure affection for the Lord. A devotee is always in the mode of unalloyed goodness, therefore he harms no one. But the non-devotee, however educated he may be, is always harmful. A devotee is neither foolish nor passionate. The harmful, foolish, and passionate cannot be devotees of the Lord. However, they may advertise themselves as a devotee by outward dress. A devotee is always qualified with all good qualities of God. Quantitatively, such qualification may be different, but qualitatively, both the Lord and his devotee are one and the same.
So you see here, it's about the same thing that is explained,
But then here it seems to Prabhupada seems to be saying that, you see, because the verse itself says, okay, as soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. So the effects in the Madhurya Kadambini of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he quotes this verse to say that, saying that the effects are not there, but the modes are still present. So the modes are still there, but they're not affecting anymore. And he speaks of this as the Nishta platform. And then Prabhupada in the purport here, he says that he quotes 4:30:20, which means the Brahma Bhuta. So it seems to mean that this Brahmagupta platform is still in the mode of goodness, but still the modes are there, but they're not effective. And then
No. The mode, see, once you are above the mode of goodness only, you come to the Brahman platform, you know. Just now we read, no? Brahma Bhutta, Saguna Samati at Aitan, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpa. You cannot be in the mode of goodness and Brahman stage, you know. That's not possible. Brahman stage is beyond the mode of passion, goodness, and ignorance. You understand?
Okay. Yeah.
You cannot be in the mode of goodness and be in Brahman. That's not possible. You may be in the mode of pious religiosity, you know, but transcendent, to go to the transcendental position or Brahman position, you must cross the three modes, you know.
Yes.
So
But then here again in the
here it is explaining synonymous, you know. The moment you have devotional service, then you also go above this, you see. You follow? If you get Krishna, you are above the modes of material nature automatically. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced a simple program. You chant and dance, you know. You come to the transcendental plane. Shortcut. Of course, there's also another shortcut. If you serve the lotus feet of spiritual master, also you transcend the three modes of material nature.
Yeah, there also it is stated the Sudasattva platform. You can go to Sudasattva then only, 7:15 to.
Yeah, so if you serve, you can take that verse out for you also. So this is actually the you know, the most easiest for us, you know. See, this is actually the easiest program that we also see has happened in our society in the early stage. They don't know nothing, only Prabhupada, no? Correct? So because they know nothing but Prabhupada, they also transcended, you know. So all this can be done automatically if one engages the service of spiritual master with faith and devotion. In this way, one can conquer the influence of the modes of nature. So that has been shown also, you know. I mean, as I said, in early ISKCON, who knows by what philosophy we know? We didn't even have all the books also, correct? Because of this irresolute determination, you know, implicit faith in both Guru and Krishna. So we also come to the transcendental plane. That's why they could do so many things, you know. In 12 days, they helped Prabhupada conquer the whole world. Because they were above the modes, you know. And the chanting, remember, see how they are chanting, it's so pure. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So that is another point in which you can cross the modes of mental nature. So therefore, our thing here now is to rely on this point rather than anything else. You know? Because to serve the spiritual master with implicit faith is the most easiest, you know. To go and meditate on Krishna and, you know, do so many other things and all, it's not so easy. Especially also to become fixed up in devotional service day in, day out, you know, how many have the time also. So at least we must have implicit faith in the spiritual master. In service of the spiritual master. That is I would say the most strong asset of ours. You want to read the purport, anyone?
Just by treating the root cause of an ailment, one can conquer all bodily pains and suffering. Similarly, if one is devoted and faithful to the spiritual master, he can conquer the influence of Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, and Tamo Guna very easily. Yogis and Gyanis practice in many ways to conquer the senses, but the Bhakta immediately attains the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the mercy of the spiritual master. Yasha Prasada Bhagavat Prasado. If the spiritual master is favorably inclined, one naturally receives the mercy of the Supreme Lord, and by the mercy of Supreme Lord, one immediately becomes transcendental, conquering all the influences of Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, and Tamo Guna within this material world. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Sagunan Samatitayetan Brahma Bhujaya Kalpate, Bhagavad Gita 14:26. If one is a pure devotee acting under the directions of Guru, one easily gets the mercy of the Supreme Lord and thus becomes immediately situated on the transcendental platform. This is explained in the next verse. The spiritual master should be considered to be directly the Supreme Lord because he gives transcendental knowledge for enlightenment. Consequently, for one who maintains the material conception that the spiritual master is an ordinary human being, everything is frustrated. His enlightenment and his Vedic studies and knowledge are like the bathing of an elephant. It is recommended that one honor the spiritual master as being on the equal status with the Supreme Personality Godhead. Shakshat Dharitvena Samasta Shastre. This is enjoined in every scriptures. Acharya Mam Vijaniyat 11:17-27. One should consider the Acharya to be as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In spite of all these instructions, if one considers the spiritual master an ordinary human being, one is doomed. His study of the Vedas and his austerities and penances for enlightenment are all useless, like the bathing of an elephant. An elephant baths in a lake quite thoroughly, but as soon as it comes on the shore, it takes some dust from the ground and strews it over its body. Thus, there is no meaning to the elephant's bath. One may argue by saying that since the spiritual master's relatives and men of his neighborhood consider him an ordinary human being, what is the fault on the part of the disciple who considers the spiritual master an ordinary human being? This will be answered in the next verse, but the injunction is that the spiritual master should never be considered an ordinary man. One should strictly adhere to the instructions of the spiritual master, for if he is pleased, certainly Supreme Personality Godhead is pleased. Yasya Prasada Bhagavad Prasado, Yasya Prasadhan Nagati Kutopi. The Supreme Personality Godhead, Lord Krishna, is the master of all living entities and of the material nature. His lotus feet are sought and worshipped by a great saintly person like Vyasa. Nonetheless, these fools who consider Lord Krishna as an ordinary being.
So here again, the purport Prabhupada is stressing about how the spiritual master, you can read this, Sevya Bhagavan and Sevaka Bhagavan. You can read on?
The example of Lord Krishna's being the Supreme Personality of Godhead is appropriate in regard to understanding the spiritual master. The spiritual master is called Sevaka Bhagavan, the servitor's personality of Godhead, and Krishna is called Sevaya Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead who is worshipped. The spiritual master is the worshipper God, whereas the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the worshipable God. This is the difference between the spiritual master and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Another point, Bhagavad Gita, which constitutes the instructions of the Supreme Personality Godhead, is presented by the spiritual master as it is, without deviation. Therefore, the absolute truth is present in the spiritual master, as clearly stated in text 26, Jnanadipena Prade. The Supreme Personality of Godhead gives real knowledge to the entire world, and the spiritual master, as the representative of Supreme Godhead, carries the message throughout the world. Therefore, on the absolute platform, there is no difference between the spiritual master and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If someone considers the Supreme Personality Krishna or Lord Ramachandra to be an ordinary human being, this does not mean that the Lord becomes an ordinary human being. Similarly, if the family members of the spiritual master, who is the bona fide representative of the Supreme Personality Godhead, consider the spiritual master as an ordinary human being, this does not mean that he becomes an ordinary human being. The spiritual master is as good as the Supreme Personality Godhead, and therefore one who is very serious about spiritual advancement must regard the spiritual master in this way. Even a slight deviation from this understanding can create a disaster in the disciples' Vedic studies and austerities.
So this is the underlying point in which we are all, having our faith in Krishna consciousness. You can see why we have clearly separated ourselves from ISKCON, because ISKCON has deviated to misrepresenting Prabhupada. And therefore you can see how they are, having so many difficulties, understand basic things. Everything is so clear for us, it's so difficult for them. Yes?
Yes.
Is it not?
Yes.
They're trying to put in new things which is not in Shastra. Whereas I see every time we read Prabhupada books, we are discovering new things. Is it not?
Yeah.
Correct? So this is a difference, The difference is, just now Prabhupada quoted that verse, This is a very important verse that Prabhupada always quotes when he speaks about his Brahman. You want to read this?
Always engaging in the activities of devotional service, devotees feel ever increasingly fresh and new in all the activities. The all-knower, the supersoul within the heart of the devotee makes everything increasingly fresh. This is known as the Brahman position by the advocates of the absolute truth. In such a liberated stage, Brahma Bhuta, one is never bewildered, nor does one lament or become unnecessarily jubilant. This is due to the Brahma Bhuta situation.
So you see here, further stress on Brahman, you're no more influenced by lust and anger and greed. Now here it says that you feel always fresh and everything become new, in all its activities. See? This is another qualification of the Brahman platform. That means he is always enthusiastic. Everything is very blissful and joyful, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma. You know Bhagavad Gita? Huh? Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma. Brahma Bhuta means he must be always blissful and joyful. You understand? So they are all symptoms of the Brahman platform. You read the book? Please read.
A devotee is inspired by super soul within the heart to advance in devotional service in a variety of ways. The devotee does not feel hackneyed or stereotyped, nor does he feel that he is in a stagnant position. In the material world, if one engages in chanting material name, he will feel tired after chanting few times. However, one can chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra all day and night and never feel tired. As chanting is increased, it will come out new and fresh. Srila Rupa Goswami said that if he could somehow get millions of ears and tongues, then he could release the spiritual bliss by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. There is really nothing uninspiring for a highly advanced devotee. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that He is situated in everyone's heart and He helps the living entity forget and remember. By the grace of the Lord, the devotee gets inspiration. Tesham sasataktanam bhajatam purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mama prayantite. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give understanding by which they can come to me. As stated, Kushala Karmanam. Those engaged in auspicious activities in devotional service are guided by Super Soul, described in the verse as Gna, one who knows everything, past, present, and future. The Super Soul gives instructions to the sincere unalloyed devotee on how he can progress more and more in approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Jiva Goswami in this connection says that the super soul The plenary expansion of the personality of Godhead exists in everyone's heart. But in the heart of the devotee, he reveals himself as ever increasingly new. Being inspired by him, the devotee experiences increased transcendental bliss in the execution of devotional service.
So this explains this position, you know. So sometimes we all are neophyte, you know, we may chant nicely and we start thinking that we are now, you know, very much in the transcendental platform, you know. And then next moment we are down on the floor again, you know, doing some nonsense. Yes. So that is our position, like a roller coaster, up, down, up, down, up, down. But a devotee on the Brahman platform is never down. And Krishna keeps him always, you know, fired up, you know. That's a difference, you see. Yes, we come to that. It's not that it's impossible to come to it, but the process is becoming one fixed up in the, you know, devotional process by having full faith in the spiritual master and Krishna and carrying out the instruction of the spiritual master. So these are the process. You cannot do anything else. It's not artificial. Yes.
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 Any comments and questions on these points?
So, Prabhu, Brahma Bhuta, Shuddha Sattva, Kaivalya, Samadhi are all same, is it?
More or less.
Okay.
Actually,
Different terms only they use, you know, but it to describe someone as going above the three modes of nature.
Yeah, the Turiya is also there. There's a Turiya again. Similar.
Yes.
Okay.
As long as you go above, then you may call it Kaivalya, you may call it Brahman, you may call it Brahmabhuta. You understand? Vasudeva. That is the position where you are associating with the Lord already. Yes?
yes. Prabhu, I have a question.
Yes.
Because you are saying, I mean, it's written there in the Krishna book that the gopis, they left their body and then they went to see Krishna in the Rasa Leela. So, but looking at all these verses, we can see that pure devotee, even though he may be in a material body, he is completely spiritual. So why they had to like leave their material body behind and they can associate directly with their,
No, they are associating directly with Krishna, you know, on the spiritual level. But because Krishna arranged that the body should be left behind so that the husband may think that they are still there, no?
Yes.
That's why Krishna made the arrangement. That's why Krishna, you'd go back, don't worry. Your husband will not be, you know, angry with you, all these kind of things. Why Krishna say that? Because Krishna is controlling the whole scene, you know. You understand? That's why Prahlad Maharaj said also when he's, I mean, in that verse, when he doesn't know how he eats and how he sleeps. It's all maintained by the Lord, you know. Because in the transcendental plane, the devotee doesn't care anymore. He's no more material. He doesn't want to eat, doesn't want to care and everything. Then the body will die, you know. Yes? So
Yes.
Krishna maintains the material body of the devotee. He doesn't know how he eats. You can see, you know, the verse I showed the last time, no? Take it out for you again. So because in the pure state, you know, he's already in the Brahman platform. So we go to this verse. So here you can see Prahlad Maharaj was always absorbed in thought of Krishna, thus he been always embraced, but I did not know how his bodily necessities such as sitting, walking, eating, lying down, drinking and talking who have been automatically performed. Like we are rushing to eat, we are rushing to sleep, we are practically absorbing only these things. Yes? But a pure devotee is different. Understand? Huh? So he is maintained by the Lord, So the gopis, they left in the spiritual body, but their material body is left behind. So once you're on the spiritual plane, that's why they dance for one night of Brahma, no? Correct? They were with one night of Brahma, right?
Yes.
Huh? When they one night of Brahma and then they go back home, how does it work? If you calculate one night of Brahma, our time is also inside there. Yes? So inconceivable how the Lord can do everything, That's why we are actually covered by Maya now. Because we are covered by Maya, this is also Krishna's energy, but this is contaminating. So that's why we have to go back to our original position, where we don't have to do all these things that we are doing now. So that's why, we have to purify ourselves. Yes?
Yes.
Hmm?
So actually, so all these pure devotees, even though they are descending on this earth and they are taking a material body, it is
Yeah.
completely,
A small child, while being cared for his mother, does not know how he needs the body of eating, sleeping, lying down, passing water, evacuating, and being fulfilled. He's simply satisfied to be on the lap of his mother. Similarly, Prahlad Maharaj is exactly like a small child being cared for by Govinda. See? The necessary activity of the body was performed without knowledge. His father and mother care for their child. Govinda cared for Prahlad, who remains always absorbed in thoughts of Govinda. This Krishna consciousness, Prahlad Maharaj, is a vivid example of perfection in Krishna consciousness. So once you come to that level, then that's it. You don't care anymore,
yeah. No, even the Madhavendra Puri was like that.
Hmm. So he just waited and the Lord brought the milk for him, Come to someone give it, drink, otherwise he fasts, he don't care. So this is coming to the Brahmabhuta platform where they don't know, they don't care anymore. No, we are not this body. They are always absorbed with the Lord, and the pleasure is coming, because they are with the Lord all the time. So this is transcendental plane. Because it cannot be imitated, it has to be done according to one's advancement. Yes.
Yes.
So we have to practice. That's why just now I say, the more and more you can chant and purify, then the more and more you'll be able to see the Lord clearly, Right? Now we cannot, every time we chant, only Maya comes to our mind, At least for mine, I don't know about you, but, So, how the mind is running only in the material consciousness, So to get it to come to Krishna consciousness, it takes some time, Yes?
Yes.
So let us try, keep trying. Anything else? I hope I have explained your questions accordingly.
No, I guess, so all these devotees associating with Krishna, they are already in their spiritual body, but only in this situation, Krishna says, okay, Naman, you leave your material body and come. Is it like a pastime? Like,
Yes. No, Krishna, he acted in the spiritual plane, So the devotees did not know. They are spiritual anyway, you understand?
yeah.
So just like, he can cover them, he can uncover them, you know what I mean? He's in control. You follow? Krishna is, you see, he called them with playing the flute, correct? Yes or no? They were busily serving their family and all that, correct? He wanted to do the rasa dance, so he called them, correct? Yes?
Yeah.
So when they came, they definitely came in their spiritual body because they want to associate with the Lord, no? Yes? He will not be so stupid to take everybody from the house and then the husbands all reject, then what is he going to do? He's not going to. Correct? So he brought them all in their spiritual body. You understand? So these are all inconceivable pastime to the Lord, you know. Just like the example of Sita being taken away by Ravana, correct?
Right.
Ravana thought he had Sita, correct? But
Yes.
no, he took the Maya form. How the Lord know all these things? He already planned already, right? She had to go inside, and when she went inside, the Maya took her away, and Maya came out with, and then Ravana could touch only Maya. He could not touch the real Sita, which makes a mixed fact. Conditioned soul cannot go to the Lord, no? Correct?
Right.
So we have to understand the deeper meanings in this proper way. Otherwise, we will become bewildered because the materialists will be bewildered. Hey, how come Sita got be carried away by Ravana? Correct? The Brahmana was crying, you know, in the Chaitanya Leela. How could Mother Sita be touched by Ravana? Correct? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought two verses, no? From the what Purana is it?
Is it Varaha Puran?
Some Purana, I think it's there in the CC, you know. He brought the verse and showed the Brahmin, hey, look, Sita could not be carried by Ravana. Maya Sita came. So similarly, to associate with Krishna, we have to be on a spiritual body. So just like now, you can see when you chant nicely and everything, you feel completely, you feel so blissful, no? Correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
And then at a time when you're in spaced out condition, you see how much Maya is so much affecting. Yes or no?
Yes.
So when you're spiritually there, then you're in blissful state, you know. So that's how Krishna, he pushes us, he gives us a little taste and then we want to hanker for it and then more and more hankering. And finally we come to the purified stage. Takes many lifetimes, of course. In this lifetime, if we strictly surrender to Prabhupada, then our life will become very quickly successful. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, if you think that the spiritual master is ordinary just because his relatives say so, then we are in Maya. Right? So that's why, again, we have been troubled by ISKCON, which is trying to minimize the importance of Prabhupada. Right? Or he made mistake, he's ordinary, how he can not follow Shastra. This all, terminology is undermining his supreme position. So when we follow this kind of statements and ideologies or rhetoric, then we are going to be in trouble. You see the difference? That's why we should not at any moment think that the spiritual master is an ordinary person. So by sticking to this very, let's say, sound philosophy and realizing it, then very quickly we'll also go above the most material nature by the mercy of the spiritual master. It's the difference between ISKM and ISKCON. Yes?
Yes.
So, okay, it's 10 o'clock. I think everyone wants to go to bed, right?
Even the same as like Josuda, Mother Josuda also covered by the Jogamaya, he could not understand, Similarly, Gopis also Jogamaya, pure devotee under the Jogamaya.
Yes.
But
Pure
we
devotees are
Maya.
always under the control of Yoga Maya.
Yeah. So they drew the pastime. Prabhupada written in Krishna book also. They are all spiritual body. So they are because under the Jogamaya. So
Ananda Chinmaya Rasa.
yes, exactly.
So we should learn how to see like that, no?
Yeah.
So we also can come to that spiritual plane. We have to practice this very strictly, have full faith in Guru and Krishna. It is possible, it is not impossible. Yes? So I guess I have to stop here, huh? Thank you very much for your kind association.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
I hope I've not offended anyone with my answers.
How could anyone take offense?
You took our offenses by knowledge, by giving this.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
All glories to all of you. Thank you for your kind association. Hope
Hare
to
Krishna.
see you again soon. Huh? All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you for taking your time.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare
Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare
Hari Hari Bol. Jai Prabhupada.
Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, bro.
Right.